My name is Gary Butterfield, he, him.
My name is Kay Ross, she, her.
And you're listening to Best Quality Vacuum, the Duckfeed show about Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and El Camino.
Yeah, and this week we're talking about Mijo, an episode written by Peter Gould, directed by Michelle McLaren, and it originally aired on February the 9th of 2015.
Yeah, the loot system in Mijo is bullshit.
What?
Yeah, Mijo.
Oh,
A
Neo.
little
Okay.
joke about that.
Yeah.
Not good or anything.
I don't keep track of your grudges.
Yeah, I don't forget anything.
Yeah.
It's a real problem, and so this is the second part of the first episode, kind of a series premiere.
Mm-hmm.
One day after Uno. I'm going to say we haven't talked about this. We haven't talked about Better Call Saul almost at all.
Right.
I think this is a much worse episode.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of crazy that's like part of the second half of our premiere, but there's like multiple levels on which this is worse. This is one of the weaker episodes of the season.
Uh-huh.
Surprising, right?
Yeah. Like halfway through it turns into something very, I don't know. It is a very confused episode to me in terms of what it is trying to establish.
And it's leaning too hard on montages.
Yes.
The cutesy montage thing is one of the things when I first watched Better Call Saul and was like, oh, I don't like this as much, nearly as much as Breaking Bad. This is one of the things I was reacting to. Like Breaking Bad likes to do this as well.
Yes.
Better Call Saul has upped the amount by quite a bit. Just, in frequency and length of just like, here's a montage. Loves to do it. And here's kind of where it begins. And kind of even throughout the series, I'm never going to love this. It's sometimes they're visually cool.
Yeah.
Kind of impressive. But like the one I think about a lot is the one where Jimmy starts wearing the bad suits.
Yeah.
To try to get fired. And it's like, it just goes on for fucking ever.
Yep.
And I can't, it feels like stalling for time to me. Like I fucking get it,
Yeah. It just, there's a lot of it that feels very indulgent.
Very indulgent is a good way to put it. And and it's not like all of the sugar we talked last episode is gone. Like there's still good stuff in this episode. I love the series. There are weaknesses to it though. There are things that I find a little annoying. It
is a stylistically opinionated, decision that they are making that they continue doing.
Yes.
Like there are times when it's used very well. I think the one of like Jimmy and Kim kind of growing apart, just another like daily routine kind of one. That's good. I like that.
Because they reveal something like there's movement in it. They use them to establish a mode, like to have time pass, and they just keep, nothing changes in them. Yeah. Usually. Yeah. I don't find that cute.
No.
If you're listening to this and you love them, I would genuinely want to hear why. Because it is hard for me to understand the appeal of them. Personally. Yes. The other little things that are like minor nitpicks I have in this episode as well, primarily having to do with the first part of it, which is the immediate aftermath of Jimmy and the skaters, their car accident scam that failed. They have their run-in with Tuco. Tuco feels off-model to me, character-wise in this.
He's too stupid.
He's way too, thank you. He's way too stupid. And like Tuco's not a brain genius.
Nope.
But he's cunning. He has a scary cunning to him. He's a real idiot in this. They made him into an ogre.
Yep.
It's like we've moved from the super mutants from Fallout 2 to the super mutants to Fallout 3.
Yeah. It's just like him there's one specific thing that he says that is like straight up like head injury stuff.
Yeah. He should be going like duh between lines in this. It's weird.
Yeah.
And written by Peter Gould, who's capable of writing good stuff because of Peter Gould's kind of picadillos. Like I think that it's trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Like I think the idea is this is supposed to be like a laugh riot, and I don't experience it that way. This can be a very funny show. Yeah. Not in this episode to me.
No. It's kind of broad. Is a little bit of the thing. And it's like, it's not like what's happening is not interesting. Like for being a show about lawyers, we don't spend a lot of time in court in it, like it's not like a courtroom drama. It's actually showing a lot more of like the real boring shit that lawyering actually is, which I think is good. But like, I really like the idea of having the first trial that we see Jimmy like succeed at being, out in the desert, right, with this maniac.
Yeah.
I like that as a concept. But
it's a good concept, and the stakes of it are ridiculous in a way that is borderline, like kind of works and stuff. And we'll get into in detail. We also get a lot of montage of him in court, which I would have preferred to not, to just have that be a little bit shorter. It's a really long coda of him basically going back to public defender work.
Yes.
For a long time. Bright spot in this. This is the episode where we're introduced to Nacho. Ignacio Varga, one of our major protagonists in the show. Great character.
Love him.
I love him. Played by Michael Mando. Wonderful performance. Just really from the beginning, there's a lot here that you don't initially see. I remember watching this and thinking this guy was going to be two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't come off as like particularly interesting, but there's a lot of still waters run deep with Nacho. Love Nacho.
So Gary, I continued. I'm in the middle of season 3 right now. I literally
you fucked up.
I fucked up. I was weak. I wanted like more context, right? So just to have it be a little bit fresher, especially as we're starting to talk about the series. They don't use Nacho very much in the first season. They kind of don't know what to do with him.
Yeah.
And what they ultimately settle on with him, and what I think is actually really good and plays to Michael Mando's kind of strength here, is that like he is a person in the cartel who has actual humanity to him and is not a Salamanca cartoon, right?
Yeah. We've had some people with vague amounts of reasonableness to them in the cartel. Kinda. We got Bolsa. And stuff. People who aren't bloodthirsty cartoon Salamancas. Having one as a POV character, even if he's not one yet, like you can see that they kind of decided to do it. Kind of vibes of like deciding to do more stuff with Jesse. Like, oh, we have a really talented actor here. We could do things with this. And it ends up being some of my favorite stuff in the series. Really, really strong. And just really memorable. Breaking Bad universe monologues to me, like him explaining to Mike why Tuco is a problem. Like the stuff like that. I just really love it. Like, and everything with his dad, the climax of that storyline, it ties into Mike.
God.
It's so heartbreaking and good. Really excited to get into that.
And it's what makes me like push back when I hear people dog on the saying like, oh, the cartel stuff is so unnecessary, et cetera, et cetera. Like the cartel storylines are where you get Nacho and Mike, and those are two great characters.
And Mike was worth getting this exploration of. Mike's backstory is good. Where Mike ends in this series, I really love. Like, this is getting way ahead, several years ahead of ourselves, but like having the way his character climaxes. Because I think one of the reasons why people don't like the cartel stuff is foregone conclusions, right? Like, we know Mike's going to be fine. This beginning of this, episode, this idea that maybe Jimmy's in danger. We know nobody's in danger. Maybe these two kids. But we don't give a shit about these little fucks. These Creator skaters. These default Creator skaters. So I think that people kind of get that plot confused with like character depth stuff. Getting the way that Mike's arc with Nacho and how it ends, Michael. I've gone German mode. Informs, like, it changes the way I perceive the character in a way that is super worthwhile. To me.
Agreed.
Let's get into it.
Let's talk about it. The thing about Tuco you got to know is you usually see him making food, and it looks like some of the most delicious food imaginable.
Early when they do this, the opening shot, it's kind of, unclear if it's food.
It seems like it's gore, right? Because it's a red pepper. But
he's making really good food for his grandma. She comes in Abuelita, sweet little Abuelita, even though she is a Salamanca. So I was thinking about like how many horrible things she's done. Like she's probably really rough.
Tuco seems to be very invested in protecting her from what he's doing.
Probably because what she does is way worse. And she's gonna be like, "You're not doing it hard enough, Mijo. Take their eyes, Mijo." Drink the milk from their eyes, Mijo.
Stuff them down that drain in the garage floor alive, Mijo.
Yeah, put them in the Lewis hole. So, and they're coming in behind the grandma, yelling at her. Call her a crazy old biznatch. She fell into me and stuff. And Tuco just wants to protect her. He comes in, sends her upstairs. Your show's on. I'll take care of this. Not in trouble. Turn your TV up real loud so you can hear it. And this is very sweet. She's just like, oh, I'm in trouble. Sweet old lady.
Yeah.
And Tuco, I do like how he's playing it at this point. How Raymond Cruz is playing it here as just kind of like quiet.
Yeah.
During this.
Just he wants to. He wants to kind of spool them out. They're demanding money, saying oh, she ran into us, and they, not knowing who they're talking to, kind of try to imply that the cops are on the way or that they might be, right. Yep. And I love the way that Raymond Cruz says, "You called her a biznatch," right.
Yeah,
this
disrespect will not stand
for them to confirm it. Yeah.
Yes. So he knocks him out. He grabs her cane, hits one before he hits the second Creative Skater. I like how the Creative Skater says no. I always like that detail in things. I feel like that's a very ineffectual thing to say when somebody is about to hit you, but I think it's very natural.
Oh God, yeah.
The thing I always think about is in Punch Drunk Love. He starts going before Adam Sandler gets hit. He starts going no, ow, 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 ow before he gets hit. And I was like, oh, that's very well observed. It's childlike, but like, if you're gonna get the shit beat out of you, that feels like you might regress that way.
Yeah.
Abuelita hears the noises and goes down to see what's happening, but Tuco has already the Creative Skaters are nowhere to be seen. He's cleaning up a blood stain on the floor, saying it's salsa.
Yes. Saying like, oh, they're gone. We're not in trouble. And she is just like very insistent. She's trying to come down to get the stain out of her nice rug in the entryway, you got to use club soda. And Tuco does not want her downstairs. Yep.
Does not, so this is round when, so Tuco calls his guys, to take care of these two Creative Skaters. Jimmy knocks on the door. And this is where he makes the mistake of saying he's an officer of the court. And Tuco opens the door with the gun, yanks him inside. We've seen this. We're just seeing it from the other perspective.
Yes.
Here. And this is the first time we've seen Jimmy in serious trouble.
Yes.
With anybody.
Yeah. He's got a gun pointed at his face, and he starts motor mouthing. He says, I'm not sure if this is a situation where I should or shouldn't look you in the eye.
Very relatable.
Yeah. Just tell me what to do, please.
Do, sir. Yes, sir. Jimmy asks where Betsy Kettleman is. And they don't know what each other are talking about. Tuco, are you with those twins? Abuelita comes back down and says, who is this now? Tuco just said, oh, he's a salesman. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Abuelita. Yeah. She said, well, don't let those fibers dry. And I was worried about the fibers during a lot of the scene. I think he does let them dry.
The clock is ticking.
I know. He goes in the garage and I don't think he's doing the club soda.
No, she knows he's not doing the club soda. She keeps trying to fix it.
Yeah. Jimmy sees the blood stain, which I like. His face is really good. And he says, Tuco says, talk. He says, I'm going to make a guess. Not really mentioning what he had done, how he put him up to it. But saying, these two idiots came in, your lovely Abuelita drives a very similar car.
Yeah.
To this woman, based on the salsa stain here, this could have gone a couple of different ways. Let's assume, half glass full, they're alive.
Yeah.
Let's
just say and he checks him, like he tries to get anything from Tuco's face. Just like, let's just go.
Cannot do it. You don't want to mess up your grandma's place. Just let us all go. You'll never see us again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuco's response, wow, you got a mouth on you. Thank you.
So Tuco takes him to the garage where he's got the twins tied up with duct tape.
Yes.
And gives them a knife to cut the twins loose. And as soon as he opens up their mouth duct tape, they blame Jimmy. He put us up to this. It was all the lawyer.
Yeah. Just immediately, the first thing they do when he cuts them free, and we get the line, turns to Jimmy and goes, "You punking me? Are you punking my Abuelita?"
Yep. Not what you want to be doing. No. And then we hard cut to them in the desert.
Yes.
Jimmy's thrown to the ground. Tuco's guys are there. So Gonzo and Nodos, if you missed those guys, here they are.
Yeah.
Been a while.
They're back.
Yeah. And then Nacho.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Jimmy says, listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. I was trying to scam somebody else. The Kettlemans, he explains everything.
Yeah.
The embezzlement, the 1.5 mil, and Tuco doesn't believe him. Tuco believes he has to be a cop.
Yes.
You have to be the FBI or the DEA.
Mm-hmm. So he nods to Nacho, and they go to the back of this van, and he pulls out a toolbox, and Tuco grabs some like tin snips from there and says, "Hey, I smell a cop. I smell bacon," and he goes to cut Jimmy's pinky off, just to interrogate him, to get him to talk.
Yeah, horrible, scary. And Jimmy goes, "No, I promise I'm a lawyer. Grab this matchbook out of my pocket." Tuco picks it up, throws it away. Nacho picks it up.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's begging. And then here's when it kind of gets a little stupid. Yeah. I feel like here's the stupid turn. As a gambit, I guess, to make Tuco not
to tell him what he wants to hear. Yeah.
He tells him what he wants to hear would not stop Tuco from hurting him.
No.
The best you can say for this is it's a stall for time, and it works. It is a wild coincidence that it works.
Extremely. Yeah, it is like he knows that Nacho is going to come in and say, "Hey, this is too ridiculous."
Exactly.
Right.
He says, "I'm Special Agent Jeffrey Steele, the FBI." And Tuco's like, "I knew it. I knew business was too good here. Like you are a Special Agent Jeffrey Steele." And Nacho asked to talk to him. And Nacho comes and is smart. We're showing our some character traits of him. He's like, "What are we doing? If you're investigating, what's your investigation?" Jimmy's like, "Drugs." He's like, "What kind of drugs?" And Jimmy, who knows the law, starts citing a statute. Like, this is what we call it.
Yeah. And it's Operation Kingbreaker. And this is where we get Ogre to go, Kingbreaker, that makes me the king. Woohoo!
Yeah. Ralph Wiggum shit.
Yeah.
So Nacho takes the snips and says, "Listen, the next words of your life ought to be the truth." And Jimmy pauses and he says, "No, the first thing I said was true. I'm a lawyer. I don't know you and I don't want to know you." And Nacho comes over and says, "We should let him go." Like, Tuco doesn't want to because, obviously, croaking a lawyer for no reason is bad for business. People are going to look for him.
And so it gets down to like, okay, who are we here to punish, right? Okay, well, we can let Jimmy go, but the twins, they're the ones who called her the biznatch, right?
Yeah. Jimmy's giving respect.
Yes.
Tuco nods, and Nacho holds up the matchbook, says, "I can find you." And cuts his hands. This is one of the parts I like about this.
Yes.
Is Jimmy's leaving and he just hears the plans of what they're going to do to the twins.
Oh yeah.
Here, and they start screaming in terror. And Jimmy can't, he's fundamentally not he's not all gone. He's not calloused yet. Turns back, like, what are you going to do to them?
Starts intervening on their behalf, and I love. Is it Nacho or is it Tuco?
It's
Are
Tuco.
You stupid? Yeah.
Tuco goes, "Are you stupid? Like, this is the you had to get out of being killed free card." Yeah.
And Jimmy starts arguing their case, making up a sob story about their mother. You can see him trying to pull this in a courtroom, right? Like, oh, she works hard. Oh, for herself. Oh, for them. She uses a cane, like pulling details from Tuco's life, trying to say oh, it's like your abuelita, and he says, "You're not going to do this. You're not going to kill them. You know why? Because you're tough, but fair. You're about justice, and killing them is injustice." And this is, it is kind of like trying to like reverse cold read Tuco, and it works just by saying this little platitude that he's like, yes, I am tough and fair.
It works in the way that this reminded me of a Dungeons and Dragons scenario doing fast talk on a dumb guard.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that should work at the D&D table, but not in serious fiction.
Yes.
I felt like. And then he moves on to the sendings phase. He says, Code of Hammurabi, eye for an eye. And Tuco's like, "I should take their eyes.
I should blind them."
Yeah. And okay, no, and it's silly. It's shtick. They talk shit. Maybe, he's like, "I should take their tongues. Colombian neckties." He's just being a cartoon.
Yeah. And Jimmy's saying like, all right, well, give them black eyes. Right.
Yeah.
And Nodos pipes up and says, "Hey, one of them already has a black eye." Tuco does not like it when No-Dose speaks.
Yes.
And in fairness, Tuco did give him a long leash. He was in prison for a lot of it, but 6 years is enough time for No-Dose to understand, to stop talking.
It's part of why I didn't, like, again, this is kind of cute as like foreshadowing, but it still doesn't feel real to me. Yeah. This little, No-Dose doing that, like, oh, that's our No-Dose. It felt like reminding the audience of what had happened before. Like, can you not see the parallels? No, we know the parallels between when he was meeting with Heisenberg.
Yeah.
In the junkyard. Like, we understand it. We are literate. Kind of cute, but a little irritating as well.
Yeah.
He suggests like spraining their ankles, and Tuco's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut off their arms and legs. I'm going to cut off their legs, And
I say we skin them.
It literally, New York City. It's fucking ridiculous. And then the way Jimmy gets out of this does not feel like it would take. He goes, we were talking about legs.
Yeah.
Let's stay on the legs situation. Like, I don't know, like he's a machine or something.
Yeah.
It does not give Tuco credit for having an internal life.
Yeah.
And thoughts, Eventually he says, breaking 2 legs, you get to break 2 legs total because you're an ogre and you just like breaking legs. But just 1 each, and they're going to be scared of you forever for the rest of your life.
Yeah. They're out of commission for 6 months. It's literally just so they can get the line when he's wheeling him in. Yeah.
Exactly. So Jimmy kind of watches. It's really hard to watch. We just hear it. Tuco stomps on their legs. And he's woo. He's very happy to be doing ogre shit.
Hey, look, it's backwards.
Yeah. Terrifying. We cut to Jimmy. He's wheeling the twins into urgent care. And I do like this little bit. Here, one of them goes, you're the worst lawyer ever. And he goes, hey, I just talked you down from a death sentence to 6 months probation. I'm the best lawyer ever. Good line. And then we're meandering, except for like a couple of good scenes.
Yeah, we're just kind of drifting sideways here. Yeah. There's no wind.
Yep.
Yeah. So it cuts to later. Jimmy's just on a date with a mystery cougar.
Yeah. It reminds me of the hot neighbor from Beef House.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Might even be the same actress. Like, it looks a lot like her. And he can't quite seal the deal because he keeps noticing people around him snapping breadsticks.
Yep.
Those horrible dry breadsticks they have in nice restaurants.
Yeah.
That are not worth eating.
And it all sounds exactly like the leg bones snapping. Yeah. This goes on forever. There's so many just like deep dive shots into this woman's cleavage.
Yep. And with like fun music.
Yeah.
Very irritating. He ends up having to go and make himself throw up. We get it. He's affected by it.
Yes.
He got really drunk this night and he stumbles in to Chuck's house. Chuck is ironing his clothes and he's too drunk to speak. And Chuck just keeps saying, did you ground yourself? Did you ground yourself? He takes off his pants, collapses on the couch. He's like, I don't think you grounded yourself. And Chuck feels this twinge. This is where the metaphor of what the electromagnetic sensitivity is gets drawn out for the audience, basically.
Like he's okay. He starts like feeling this, and then he grabs some tongs so he can go and throw Jimmy's phone out onto the lawn. He could possibly understand, but like him walking in, he wasn't hurt until he realized, oh wait, he's drunk. Oh, he's doing Jimmy stuff. Jimmy stuff makes this manifest for me, and then he goes and searches for it. It's not the presence of the phone that makes him feel bad. It's when he puts together what might be happening here.
Yeah, because it's psychosomatic.
Yeah.
So in the morning, he finds the urgent care receipt. In the morning, he has coffee ready for Jimmy, and he's wrapped up in his space blanket. They only call it a space blanket in that. I love that. Is that what they're actually called? I can't imagine.
I do think that they are called space blankets.
Oh, okay. I assume that was just Jimmy calling it like, you like a wine bag. Did you ever call them space bags?
No, we didn't.
If you pull the wine bag out of a wine box, it looks like this. It's a silver bag you carry around. Like it's kind of like it's like a bagpipe you can get drunk from.
Oh, my homemade Kahlua.
Very, except it looks like it's from space Kahlua.
Yeah.
And I do like this scene.
On Wikipedia, these are called space blankets. That's a term. Yeah.
And Jimmy's like, Jimmy, you're wearing the space blanket. And then Jimmy puts it together. He sees the receipt. And Chuck says, oh, I fell out of your pocket. And he's like, listen, this isn't what it looks. This is actually a good thing. Ultimately, like I'm not backsliding. I'm not slipping Jimmy.
Mhm.
And he keeps saying, I love the performances here.
Yeah.
You know, Chuck, take off the space blanket. And Chuck's
Mhm.
like, no, it helps. Take off the space blanket.
Yeah.
You know, just over and over, like, you are shoving something in my face without even necessarily knowing it. You know, you're rubbing my nose in something.
Right.
This is condescending behavior.
I'm having a terrible couple of days here. And here you are, like, trying to guilt me with your physical condition.
Yeah.
And you don't
Which
even
I
know
may
it.
or may not believe in.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know how much Jimmy, you know, I bet you on some level he believes his brother a little bit. You know, he does it enough to act as if it's true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a, you know, again, we're gonna find out it's largely psychosomatic.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Just take it off. Just keeps insisting, and then he goes out and grabs his phone.
Yeah, and Chuck does take it off, and then after Jimmy leaves, he puts it back on.
Yes.
You know, good scene.
Mm-hmm.
We get another meander here.
Yeah.
Jimmy is waiting at the clerk's window. You know, clerk says no over and over, and Jimmy gives her a stuffed bear and says, "Listen, I don't want to starve to death."
Mm-hmm.
So he starts doing public defender cases. There are little details in this that are kind of cute.
Yes.
You know, like him loaning somebody their belt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his belt and stuff. But it's, I don't know. It's really indulgent, and I fucking get it.
Yeah.
Time is passing, and I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like it really just it feels a little bit like they needed to pad this out somehow. Like there are two things communicated here. The coffee or vending machine coffee is bad, and also like we are introduced to the deputy district attorney Oakley.
Yeah, who's not going to be like a major character for much of for this show. He shows up in the end.
Yeah,
he shows up a couple times, but like it's not like being introduced to like Kim. Yeah, Kim's here as well. She smiles in the background at some point.
Right.
Could have had them talk about their problems. That would have filled up some episode time.
Probably could have. Yeah. No, but we needed to see more of his clients.
More of his clients and more just Mike and the stickers thing. And like the stickers thing is annoyingly cartoony.
Yeah.
You can calculate how many stickers you need, or you could always just ask for more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like him just continuously trying to push past Mike with too few stickers.
Yeah.
Is weird. It's dumb.
Mm-hmm. It seems like he would know.
Yeah. Eventually, he gets through this. Oakley ends up doing this plea deal because he gives him some Fritos. This scene goes on forever.
Yes.
We get to our final scene. Jimmy comes home to his office and checks his messages and then pours himself a plastic cup of booze and unfolds his office into is this sad little like hide a bed thing. He's not going to he's going to stare and drink.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the day, and then Mrs. Wynn comes back and knocks, saying like, "Hey, you've got a customer. This has never happened before." And it's he rushes to put his office back into office mode, and lets Nacho in, and Nacho's he tries to do the like, "Oh, my regular place. Sorry, it's being painted." Blah blah blah. Nacho sees right through. He's like, "Oh wow, cozy." Yeah.
Nacho sits down and gets down to business. I've been thinking about what you said in the desert. About the Kettlemans. How much did they steal? 1.5 million. He goes, okay, I'm going to steal from them. I'm going to rip them off. I like ripping off thieves because they can't go to the cops.
Yeah.
You tell me, where they are, and I'll give you a finder's fee. That's like 10%, which is tons of money.
Oh, yeah.
This is the second time in the series that Jimmy has, turned down an insane amount of money that would solve all his problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has integrity.
Yes. Yeah. And kind of Jimmy asks, like almost like heartbreakingly, there are a lot of moments here in the first two seasons where like Jimmy just is incredulous about why people come to him for this kind of stuff. Yeah, like how he's perceived. Like, how did you know I would do it? Basically, is ultimately what these questions come down to. Like, why would you come to me for that? He says, well, you already tried ripping them off. I'm just going to finish what you started. Yeah.
Jimmy says, I wasn't trying to rip them off. I was trying to get their business. I wanted to save the day, and Nacho laughs at him. Jimmy says, if he says, listen, if you can give me the location of the money, nobody has to get hurt. And Jimmy says, I'm not a criminal. This is going to be a theme throughout this series. And Nacho says, you shitting me? We all did that whole thing out in the desert,
Yeah.
And I stepped in for you. you know, and Jimmy finally says, listen, like, I know that I owe you. If you ever find yourself arrested, I will be the best lawyer you could ever, you know, be.
Yeah. You could ever ask for. Yeah. You know, and like, as far as I'm concerned, you know, you're my client. And saying, oh, what's your angle? It's like, no, I'm not going to tell anybody. There's no angle.
Yeah.
You know,
Nacho says, you know, if you rat, you die, which he knows. And then Nacho, you know, writes his phone number on the matchbook and says, when you figure out that you're in the game, you know, and he says, I'm not in the game, I promise. We, of course, know he's very in the game. This series is about him going into the game.
Yes. And you know, he hasn't quite realized it yet. I love just the concept of the game and the way that it is, you know, cited. You know, there's a moment later on where somebody who very much should not be in the game gets put into the game.
Yeah. When you get Mike, you know, referring to people as civilians.
Yes.
And stuff like that. Like the game is a thing there. And I know because of my crime lifestyle.
Of course. Yeah. No, the game is absolutely real. You know, who's fair game and whatnot.
Players and there's 2.5 good scenes in this episode. Like it's pretty sparse for things from this creative crew.
Yeah, it definitely just kind of feels like it peters out. I think it ends super strongly on, you know, I think one of the more, you know, interesting questions, which is, you know, again, the ways that Jimmy is perceived. Like, in a way, both Nacho and Chuck are seeing the same thing.
Oh yeah.
And
they put those scenes next to each other. Yeah. For a reason, you know, like Nacho saying you're in the game is the same thing as Chuck putting on his space blanket. Yeah. Like Jimmy does not want to be perceived as he was.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking because his inability to outrun that, both from himself and the way others look at him or treat him, you know, is kind of the defining, you know, one of the defining tragedies of this, right?
Yeah. Going to contribute to his backsliding and crapulence. And he's going to try really hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the reasons why, despite the fact that he is, you know, a villain in Breaking Bad, and the show thinks that is true, it is impossible not to feel for him a lot because we get to see all of that effort over years. Yeah. But, you know, too cartoony.
A little bit.
Me. A little cartoony. You know, Better Call Saul has some cartoony moments. You're talking about somebody who should not be in the game. I love all the Price storyline stuff. It's a funny cartoon, which makes a difference.
And
you know, if you're going to insert a cartoon into your drama,
you get Mark Proch, right?
Yeah, he's great. It's very funny. It's very cartoonish, but it's actually funny.
Yeah,
you know, this is less actually funny. The stuff with Tuco did not seem super funny to me.
No,
it's refreshing to see Tuco again. I like Tuco. I like Raymond Cruz.
Yeah,
you know, a little eye rolly, but also, you know, I'm not made of stone. At the same time, this is too stupid for Tuco. I like how he's used later in the series much more.
Agreed.
Yeah. What can people do?
People like this show, they can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and kick us some money to get a bunch of bonus content and to help us continue doing this show and others like it.
Yeah. You can leave us ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, wherever you find podcast. You can tell your friends who are watching Better Call Saul. It's always a good time to rewatch good shows. You know, you already know what's going to happen to them. It's really comfortable.
You do. Yeah.
And you can also join us in thanking our producer, Gwen, who also composed the theme music.
Thank you, Gwen.
Yeah. And until next time, take off the space blanket.
Take off the space blanket.